Yeah. Well,
Just FYI.
All right.
I have the resolutions right here. Let's keep those right there.
Just two.
Just two. I'll take care of that once we get there.
Mic's on, meets off. And I will call the meeting to order at 7:09. Okay, may we have a roll call, please?
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. Thank you very much. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did I take yours?
Does anyone have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, without objection, the agenda is approved as presented. So first up on our agenda after that pro forma business is a presentation from Pam Belliver of the Ferndale Career Center. Good evening, Pam.
Hi, thank you for having me tonight. I would say I'm really happy to be here, but I'm really nervous to be here. So, I'm just going to give you a brief overview. I was told be brief by my boss over here, and so I'm going to be super brief. The Ferndale, Michigan Works Office, formerly and sometimes still called the Ferndale Career Center, lovingly called that, but we're really the Ferndale, Michigan Works Office, is one of 8 Michigan Works offices in the Oakland County area. We serve, but we do serve all of Michigan. I know that's a question I always get is, can I go there if I live in Petoskey? Yes, you can go to any Michigan Works office, no matter where you live. We have a variety of programs that a lot of people don't know about. We serve adults who are unemployed. We serve adults who are dislocated from their jobs. We serve adults who are affected by the by NAFTA or the Trade Act, and we serve adults in our Welfare to Work program. We also have a youth program that we often serve Ferndale students, but we also serve a variety of other students in the area. And we have a business services division. There have been a lot of changes to Michigan Works the last year or so. The Workforce Investment Act had not been reauthorized for 12 years, and it was recently reauthorized in the current legislation to, the acronym is WIOA. It's Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It's a new act, so there'll be new legislation for all of us to work with. We'll have new forms, as we're all familiar with how that works, and we'll have a lot of new guidelines and eligibility criteria that we'll be dealing with starting in January, but then it'll be full throttle July 1st, 2015. We're also, this year we experienced an audit at the Michigan Works Office in Ferndale, a state audit. It was a procurement audit and a fiscal audit. We passed with flying colors. We had, it was a really interesting experience, and we had to procure things that we'd never had to procure before, right down to the very last tip of every pencil. So that's been a learning experience for all of us, and we know that in the future it'll be a much easier process. And then we have annual audits every year. There's 3 or 4 of them. In fact, we have one coming up in November, but they all go very well. I've never had an issue with any of our audits. This year we have negotiations in October. In fact, it's in 2-3 days. So I'm a little nervous about that. Negotiations is when we meet with a federal negotiator who explains to us what the future, and I'm sure he'll talk about WIOA, which is what we're finally calling it, and the ramifications for our programs, but he also takes a look at our numbers from past, present, and future, and in a year, it will guide how they make decisions about what funding the Ferndale Michigan Works office receives. So it's based on customers that come in, and it's also based on the work that we do. So we're always trying to be innovative and do new things. I know I'm really excited to be working with our superintendent, Lisa Williams, the principal of the high school, and Katie Jeffries at UHS on a new initiative for career pathways. We don't have a lot of information about that yet, but I've been working on it, getting Blake in touch with a few people, and it's going to be a really good, I think it's going to be a really good partnership. Our business services division has grown exponentially in the last 2 years. We were serving about 4 businesses, 4 to 10 every year. We're serving 200 in our area now. So I've grown that department a little bit by adding a few staff to it. It's just a little bit too much for my business services coordinator, Heather Coleman-Voss, who most of you know. It's a little bit too much for her to handle alone, so I'm really proud of that department. Our community knows more about who we are than they've ever known because we're helping businesses connect with career seekers. And that's really our goal. So I don't have much else to say. If you haven't liked our Facebook page, I really hope that you will. We're very prominent in social media. We were the leaders in the county in social media for the Michigan Works offices. We have a blog that has job leads in it, and I really hope that you'll take a peek at that and read a little bit about it. And I hope you read my board report, because there's always success stories in it. We have a lot of success. People are getting jobs, and I could talk and pontificate all day about the economy, but I will not do that. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Your report is always inspiring.
That's great news.
So
good, I'm glad to hear that.
You write it the way you do.
I'm actually the chairperson for the Oakland County Success Stories Committee. So we have to be good at it, and we have to be good at it in Ferndale, or wouldn't be a good example.
Just a comment. I took Heather Coleman-Voss's class on Twitter that she offered over there. It's been a few weeks ago, and it was fantastic. It was very well attended, and I know that there's a lot of classes that take place over there, and so it was cool to actually be there for one and see it firsthand.
Thank you. I include the workshop schedule for every month in the board report, so if you're not getting a copy of that, you'll have to let me know, but it's also on the Facebook page, it's going to be on the website, it's everywhere. But our workshops are free to the public, your tax dollars pay for it, and they're amazing. We recommend, if not require, most of our customers to attend at least resume writing, interviewing, social media, and job search. So those are really important workshops for people who are career seekers. I will say that we've had a decline in our customer base, and I'm sure you've noticed that in the board report. It's not an anomaly to us. It is across the county and across the state. Things have shifted. With unemployment, as you know, there are fewer weeks that people can collect unemployment, and if you're not, most people don't know who we are if they don't need us, which is something we're really trying to change. I don't know if you know this, I'm on the chamber board. I've been a part of the chamber for many, many years. I also serve on the Fern Care board, and I'm trying to get the word out to the communities that would need us the most. So if you can help inspire people, that would be great. Absolutely. Yeah. If they're not full, which not lately, but they used to be. 8 to, our doors are open 8 to 4, but we're there 8 to 5. Thank you.
Next up, we have some community awards to present, so I'll turn this over to Mr. Pruitt.
Yes, we have a couple awards. I'd like to try and do every board meeting to award community members or any staff members. Today, Sean Butler is going to be with us to do a presentation, but he had an emergency he had to attend to, so he had asked me to step in his absence. Our first board honoree is Sports Clips. They have become a Ferndale High School Gold sponsor, which is our highest level of donations to the athletic department. Through their generous donation, we have been able to purchase new uniforms and equipment that we are not able to have in our budget for our girls softball team and track program. Sports Clip has also donated free haircut coupons. You can see model right here. It's like the hair club for men. I'm also a client. Discount coupons for haircuts in addition to their generous donation. So we'd like to present Sports Clip with a board certificate of appreciation. Thank you very much. Our next certificate of appreciation is to J&D Auto Service. J&D has been extremely generous supporter of Ferndale Athletics, Orchestra, and Ferndale High School. For the second straight year, they have purchased staff motivational t-shirts for every staff member. They've also donated pizzas, grills, and time running the concession stand at home football games, and provide great auto service to our teachers. So we wanted to take a minute and thank J&D Auto Service. I don't know if we have a representative here tonight or... And we just wanted to make mention of our National Merit semifinalists. Nora was not able to be with us this evening, but it is a very, very prestigious award that very few high school students get. So we are very pleased to have that, and we also want to thank all the teachers that were part of her education. If you listened to the podcast a couple weeks ago, she was someone that I interviewed, and it was a lot of great teachers starting from kindergarten all the way up to 11th grade that have really helped her to get to where she is. So if you know Nora or see Nora, congratulate her, and we look forward to hopefully she moving on to National Merit finalist. Right. So those are our community awards today.
All right, congratulations to Nora also. And for the first time this school year, we have a student representative here with us from Ferndale High School, Miss Faith Huddleston. So welcome to the Board of Education, and please step up to the podium. Just so you know, the microphone doesn't amplify in the room, it just amplifies on the recording.
Hello.
Hello.
So as far as things going on in Ferndale High School, October 10th, which is last Friday, students in grades 9 through 11 took a mock ACT test, and that data will be used to develop plans to increase student scores. FHS Ferndale High School is in the process of selecting students to attend Skyline. The Communication Leadership Camp will take place November 5th through 7th, which is a Wednesday through Friday. 60 student leaders will be selected to attend based on their leadership skills, involvement in extracurricular activities, and overall character. Students were nominated by teachers and also were able to nominate themselves. Tomorrow, which is Tuesday, October 21st, at 7:30 p.m., we will have a National Honor Society induction in auditorium. October 22nd, which is a Wednesday, a former Ferndale High School alumni, Jaywan Jackson, who is currently starring in the Motown the Musical, will visit Ferndale High School to talk about his experiences on Broadway. On Wednesday, or last Wednesday, October 8th, we held our fall parent-teacher conferences. The conference attendance increased by 12% from last year. And on October 31st, which is Halloween, Ferndale High School has opted to have a Pink Out for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So instead of wearing costumes, students and staff will wear pink. Ferndale High School will also sell pink plastic bracelets and donate the money to the Susan G. Komen for the Cure organization.
All right, any questions? Just, can you tell us a little bit about what college plans you might have, what year in school you are?
Oh, I'm a senior in high school. My majors kind of limit my colleges because I want to major in being an American Sign Language interpreter and a registered nurse. And the only colleges I would kind of want to go to is either Madonna University or OCC and transfer to Wayne State after I get my 2 years to get my BSN. So.
All right, excellent.
And I understand you're the choreographer for the dance team?
Yes, and I'm also in orchestra and in theater a lot.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks.
Next up, we have public comment. This is the time for public participation in the meeting. The Board of Education intends for the public to have many opportunities to address the board and administration of their school district. These include email, phone calls, face-to-face meetings, community gatherings, public hearings, and other public meetings. We welcome individual and group input into the important issues that confront our schools. As noted at the top of the agenda, this is a meeting of the school board open to the public. We want to provide fair and impartial guidelines for participation as required by the Open Meetings Act, and to encourage transparency and equal treatment for everyone in attendance. We also recognize that an effective meeting facilitates better decisions and promotes openness by allowing more people to stay for the full length of the meeting. To meet these goals, please note the following. We ask that you identify yourself and list contact information on a comment sheet to help administrators follow up with you on your comment. If you don't wish to do so in writing, please identify yourself at the podium, and if you need a response, please provide contact information with an administrator after the meeting. I will call on the people who have completed comment sheets first. Each person will have one opportunity to address the board for up to 3 minutes. Comments or questions should be directed to the board president, the secretary or vice president. Today will be the secretary, will raise her hand when your time is within a few seconds of expiring. This period of public comment is for both non-agenda items and issues that are on the agenda. Public comments will end at the close of this part of the agenda. In the event that the number of people wishing to comment requires longer than 30 minutes, public comment will be temporarily postponed after 30 minutes, and time will be added to the end of the meeting for those who did not get a chance to speak. Complaints about staff should be made outside of board meetings and should follow the applicable board policy. Please contact the superintendent's office if you have any questions regarding this item. The board cannot respond to complaints about employees in public, and this is meant to promote fairness to the staff person and the complainant. Finally, the Ferndale Public Schools community acts with great civility toward one another. Please help us maintain that tradition during public comment. So today, I do not have any requests for comment sheets. I know that we have at least one union official here, Mr. Tellisford. So we'll see if, thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Maurice Tellisford, the Ferndale Education Association president. We just have 3 quick things we want to bring up. One, we want to thank the superintendent and all of you for making homecoming a special event. Many teachers commented how it was better than they'd ever seen it done, and next year we really want to play a bigger part in helping the event and maybe doing a 10 or something for the community. So great job in that area. We also are getting used to, I would say, transitioning from a light shower in terms of technology into like a downpour of technology. So we have a new email system that we just started on October 17th. We also just went through NWEA training, which is a new testing for, I think, 2nd through 11th graders. And we are going to be using a new evaluation system that is primarily documented electronically. So the members are, I think, excited to integrate so much technology, but also a little anxious about having to learn so many new technology systems and passwords and processes. So hopefully we'll make sure that's a smooth transition for the district, because we think there's a lot of value in using more technology. And the last thing that members are dying for is a new layoff and recall policy. Just because of last year's kind of tumultuous layoff process, we'd like to get that nailed down as soon as possible as we look to evaluating teachers. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tellisford. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board during public comment? Ms. Collins, welcome.
Thank you. Patty Collins, president of FAES, the Secretaries Union. Just wanted to make a comment and my appreciation to Blake, Tom, and Dina. They've been holding monthly meetings for all the union presidents, and those have been very informative, and we really appreciate their openness and willing to share things with us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes. Mr. Wittenberg, who's the Democratic nominee for the State House of Representatives that represents our school, to every part of our school district.
That's correct. Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to say hello. I'm Robert Wittenberg, candidate for state rep here in the district, Berkeley, Huntington Woods, Oak Park, Ferndale, Pleasant Ridge, Hazel Park, and Royal Oak Township. Education was the main issue that I ran on in the primary, and hopefully if I get through the general election, same kind of thing. I'm a graduate of Berkeley High School. My father served on the school board there. My mom is a third grade teacher over in Warren Fitzgerald. So public education is a strong, strong part of our family background and will be very, very important to me and hopefully everyone else in the legislature in Lansing. So just want to thank you all for what you're doing and say hi to Ms. Collins as well. I went to school with her son at Berkeley. And so if anyone has any questions or needs anything, please reach out to me. I live over in Oak Park, but I think most of you have my contact information, but look forward to working with all of you, assuming hopefully we'll be victorious November 4th. And also a public service announcement to encourage everyone to get out to vote November 4th. And make sure you tell all your family and friends, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, make sure everybody votes. So thank you guys for having me here.
All right, thank you very much. Any other members of the public? All right. Seeing none, we will close public comment and move to the next item on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. So just as a reminder, the consent agenda is for non-controversial items that the board has studied and that no board member has any further questions or concerns about, and that they intend to vote yes on. Any board member may request or may pull an item from the consent agenda for any reason whatsoever, and that item would just be put down in item 12. And we do this just to maximize the amount of discussion that we have on our key action items on the action agenda, and then the administrative reports, so the routine items can all be dispensed with one vote. So with that being said, does anyone wish to pull an item? Yes. Let me first, I want to pull the request to approve the second reading of policies, 6.3. So we'll put that under agenda item 12. Just have one change to make, to propose, I should say, one amendment to propose. And then on bills and accounts, yeah, do you want to just address that a little bit?
I know that there has been mention of how we will be handling bills and accounts coming up in the future, and actually I could even offer you the floor if you were interested, but I think that, do you want to address this, or do you want me to address this on where we're planning to go with bills and accounts as far as how we plan to share that information with the public?
We were looking at in the financial report, going through that item.
Okay.
Or present it, but if the board would prefer now, we can present now.
Let's let's just cover that in the financial report in terms of the specifics on that. Okay. But the idea
is agenda item 11.
Agenda item 11.
I was just saying to comment now that we do have a plan to make that even more transparent than it has been in the past.
Right.
So in the past, it's been available to the Finance Committee. Now it will be available to everybody.
Right. And the other, yes, that's correct. And we'll get into that in a little bit more depth in agenda item 11. So no other requests to pull an item?
I think you might just forget, for people, this is our second time doing this, for those who are unfamiliar with this. This is standard practice in every municipality I think any of us have ever encountered, every board that they've ever run. This is things like the minutes, things that do not appear to have any question. And there's no real problem, because if someone does, like you just did, have an issue, it's immediately pulled by any member of the board. So it is, it is the definition of unanimity. If something passes on the consent agenda, it is something that everyone doesn't even wish to discuss to pull off the list. So,
right.
But it's important to do that. It's a new procedure for us, but it's one that hopefully will save us some time.
Good comment. Yes, thank you. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve items 6.1, the minutes of the special meeting on September 15th, item 6.2, the minutes of the regular meeting on September 15th, item 6.4, approving the bills and accounts for July, August, and September. Item 6.5, a request to, or approval of the resignations as submitted by the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Item 6.6, approval of new hires as submitted by the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. And item 6.7, a request to approve a first reading of policies that have been reviewed and recommended by the Governance Committee. So I'll entertain that motion at this time. Moved by Karen and seconded by Raylon. No discussion on the motion because it's the consent agenda. So roll call, please, Kim.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So with 7 yes votes and 0 no, that motion passes and the consent agenda items are approved. Items 6.1, 2, and items 6.4 through 7. Next up is the action agenda, and first up there we have a request to approve a Chromebook purchase.
Yes, the district received $37,875 from the state of Michigan in the 22I TRIG grant last year. That is money that must be spent on technology. It is either on devices or infrastructure. In looking at the current state of our computer labs, we looked at the purchase of Chromebooks, especially for use in elementary, would be the best use of those funds. At this point, as we're looking to do NWA testing and state testing in the spring, we have to have devices that will be compliant with the state testing. I was at a meeting with Mike Flanagan last Wednesday, and Dr. I forget the last name now, who's head of assessment, basically saying that if you're going to do paper and pencil, you're going to be at a disadvantage in the district. So this is money we have to spend this year. We felt that it was better to spend it earlier in the year so we can get devices in student hands. If you've been to some of our elementary labs, we still have the old monitors and very old CPUs. So we'd like to be able to use this money to purchase Chromebooks, since we are now, as of Friday, a Google school. And that those would be first starting the elementary, and then depending on where they're needed, might parse them out within the district. So they're at the price of $291 per unit, and I'm requesting the board approve purchase not to exceed $37,875, which is the amount of the TRIG grant that we do have. And if we do not spend it this school year, it goes back to the state.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve that request as stated by Superintendent Pruitt. Moved by Kevin and seconded by Nan. Any discussion on the motion? Any questions?
These will be going into a lab setting, or do you know yet how they'll be?
In general, we're looking at where they would be on carts, and so they would be available either in, per se, the media center or in a classroom, since they're portable devices, so that we have more flexibility than just one fixed lab at the moment.
All right, well, the savings are substantial between what we had been paying for laptops and the Chromebooks, so I appreciate that, certainly. Any other questions or discussion? All right, then we'll move to a roll call, please.
You know, I do want to just make one extra point because, you know, people, when discussing the difference between laptop and Chromebook, I think it's very important that we are pointing out that we are now a Google district, that now what we may have leaned on for storage in a drive or something similar is happening on the cloud. So I think that's one of the necessary pieces in this evolution. So.
They're much easier on a technology end in terms of maintenance and use, especially with younger students.
Do they back up their stuff? Sorry.
Yes, to the cloud.
But that's a great point, is with Google, you know, the first thing a kid says is, where do I press the save button? But it happens automatically, so.
Right.
So another question, I guess. What is the timetable? When will they be arriving?
Well, after tonight, tomorrow, we will put in the purchase order to REMC, and normally it's a relatively quick turnaround time.
And then what kind of training will be included in this, or what's our plan for training to make sure the teachers are comfortable?
The first piece we'll have to look at is getting Google accounts for the students, which technology, as they get teachers comfortable, then we'll move to students. And really it's about providing teacher training in the elementaries, but that will go along with some of the things that they're already doing and that the curriculum department is starting up on. But it's relatively intuitive, the same as a laptop.
All right. So just to restate the motion is to approve a purchase of Google Chromebooks at a total purchase price of not to exceed $37,875. So roll call, please.
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Latashe?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
Toomey?
Yes.
Butters?
Yes.
President O'Donnell?
Yes. Thank you. With 7 yes and 0 no, the motion passes and the request to purchase is approved. Next up is a request to approve a modification of a cell tower lease agreement.
So, for the community, we have a cell tower on the Jefferson property, right behind the building. It is leased through SBA Communications. The SBA Corporation leases the cell tower. They have offered 3 options to continue the lease after evaluation by District Legal Counsel and Plant Moran for a real estate evaluation. I'm making a recommendation to the board that we approve option 2, which is a 99-year lease, which will give the district a one-time payment. And that's actually, it's listed in the board note, says 98, but it was redone with a new assessment to be $101,000 that the district would receive in a one-time payment this year, while continuing a monthly revenue of $674. If the district decided to sell the property over the course of 99 years, the monthly payment would then transfer to the new owners. So I'm asking the board to approve the new lease with SBA regarding the cell tower.
And this is the lease that's in the board packet under the SBA agreement.
Mm-hmm. Under the action items.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to that effect. Moved by Raylon and seconded by Kevin. Any discussion on the motion? All right, I would just note that when we looked at the cash flow analysis for the district, it appeared to be clear that this was the best option, receiving some upfront cash and the income stream also down the road. So this looks like a good deal for us. All right. Seeing no further discussion, may we have a roll call on the motion to approve the agreement?
Mueller?
Yes.
Latashe?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
Toomey?
Yes.
Butters?
Yes.
President O'Donnell?
Yes. And with 7 yes and 0 no, 0 no's, that motion is approved and the agreement is approved. And next up is a request to approve a district library agreement. And joining us for this is Mr. George Butler, the school district's attorney, as well as members of the library board and the library director to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Before you, you have the current draft of the library agreement, and I'm sure you've reviewed it in various incantations up till now. The statute that governs these agreements pretty much mandates what the agreements have to contain. The issue always is, what are the boundaries of the library and who are the participating municipalities? In this case, it's very simple. It's just 2 participating municipalities. And therefore, the boundary is going to be the largest boundary you can have before you're encroaching on an area serviced by another library. So it's not the full extent of Ferndale. It's not the full extent of the Ferndale School District, but it's a healthy portion of both, inclusive of the city. We would love to be able to serve other areas that may eventually not have library service, but the law dictates that that's handled on an amendment and addition basis by amendment and addition basis. You can't sort of preordain that to occur in the agreement. The funding is very simple. The library is already funded, and its funding won't change in the foreseeable future. The school district is not a participant in that funding, but down the road, there may be a need for the library to reorganize its budget, but for the foreseeable future, as I understand it, the funding mechanism is going to remain pretty much the same. The board will remain pretty much the same. That'll be the provisional board until the next election for the new district library kicks in, which is sometime attenuated from the next school board elections. I think it's 13 months, something like that. So all of these library agreements are subject to final approval by the state librarian. So we've crafted a resolution tonight that would permit you to approve this as it currently is, but delegate to the superintendent and or the president of the board the authority to make any other changes dictated by that approval process, as long as they don't materially change the terms of the agreement. The law also requires us to have a separate agreement for an item that's going to be an exhibit to the district library agreement, which is the agreement talking about the transfer of any property, personnel, et cetera. For us, all we have to approve officially is the property transfer agreement, and there again, that doesn't implicate the district really, but as a participant of the agreement, we have to approve that property transfer agreement, which is essentially just transferring the property from the existing library to the new library. Personnel, that's really the city's concern, and we don't have to participate in that decision-making process. Therefore, we don't have to approve that agreement because we don't need to be a party to it. Any questions? I prepared the two resolutions. I think you have them in front of you. I would recommend approval. And obviously, if there are any further changes required by the state librarian, even though you're pre-authorizing the president to agree to those changes, the final agreement and any additional changes will come back to you so that you have it, and if there are any questions. One last thing I will mention, withdrawal from the agreement, it's usually a complicated process because there's often more than just two participants, but if either participant wants to terminate the agreement down the road, that can be done. It just can't be done earlier than 2 years after the state librarian approves the agreement. It's got to be given a 2-year chance. And fortunately, I think that funding, that structure that presently exists, is probably going to be adequate to get you through that initial period.
Okay. I'll just read through the resolution approving the agreement, just so everybody knows that Mr. Butler drafted for us. All right. There's a couple of extra copies here, so people can share and look on. So with the whereas pursuant to the District Library Establishment Act, Act 24, the Michigan Public Acts of 1989, and they have one over there, I think. District Library Agreement has been presented to the school district substantially in the form on file with the school district secretary for the purpose of establishing a district library to be known as the Ferndale Area District Library, with the City of Ferndale and the school district as participating municipalities. Whereas pursuant to the DLEA, that's the District Library Establishment Act, the city has approved entry into the agreement or will soon approve entry into the agreement. And whereas pursuant to the DLEA, the City of Ferndale Library Board, the governing body of the existing Ferndale Public Library, has reviewed the agreement and has approved or will soon approve entry into the agreement. And whereas prior to the establishment of the district library under the DLEA, it is necessary for the school district to consider and approve the agreement. And whereas the school district desires to approve that agreement, now therefore be it resolved that 1, the Ferndale Public Schools Board of Education has determined that it is necessary and in the best interest of the public to establish the Ferndale Area District Library pursuant to the DLEA. 2, the school board hereby approves the agreement attached as an exhibit to this resolution and hereby authorizes the president, secretary, or the superintendent to execute and deliver the agreement and to execute and deliver any other certificates or documents as may be required by the Library of Michigan. The school board authorizes the superintendent and or the president to make any non-substantive changes to the agreement or changes required by the Library of Michigan if required before the agreement is approved by the Library of Michigan. 4, the effective date of the agreement shall be the date the state librarian approves the agreement as stated in Article 1, Section D of the agreement. And 5, all resolutions or motions and parts of resolutions or motions in conflict with this resolution are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict.
Just if it makes it any easier, all the preambulatory to the second are the
It's
same.
all the same?
So you
Okay.
could just, if you want to cut to the chase on the now,
So-
there are 4 pieces.
All right, the next one is the resolution that's approving the property transfer agreement, which, as Mr. Butler said, we have to approve, but we don't have any property to transfer to the district library. Essentially, the be it resolves are the same. It's in the best interest of the public for the school district to enter into the property transfer agreement. The school board hereby approves the property transfer agreement, attached as an exhibit to this resolution, and hereby authorizes the president, secretary, or the superintendent to execute or deliver the agreement, and to execute and deliver any other certificates or documents as may be required by the Library of Michigan. School board authorizes the president or superintendent to make any non-substantive changes to the property transfer agreement, and it's contingent on the ultimate approval of the agreement, of the district library agreement by the Library of Michigan. If the Library of Michigan does not ultimately approve the district library agreement, this resolution approving the property transfer agreement is hereby repealed. Anything in conflict with this resolution are also hereby repealed.
And just, Mr. President, just by way of clarification, until both entities have passed the requisite resolutions, it's not right for submission. Once that happens, then we do submit, and then they have 30 days to up or down the agreement.
Okay.
And hopefully, if there's something problematic, they'll communicate before the expiration of that period so we can take care of any changes they dictate.
All right, good. And this, so this puts this would put the library board, a 7-member library board, on the same election cycle as the school board, which is dictated by state law, by the District Library Establishment Act. And that would mean the first elected district library board would be elected in November of 2016, 2 years from now. So I just wanted to also introduce the library board members and director here and briefly say that this is one of the great examples of, I think, collaboration between the library, the school district, and the city. This is an agreement that is going to enable the library to prosper and to better serve all of its constituencies, one of whom are students and parents and faculty and staff of the school district. There's a tremendous opportunity with the chance for expanded funding from this agreement ultimately down the road to enable the library to provide more services to our kids, both in the library and librarians coming into the schools to help with the curriculum that that we have in place and will have in place. So it's really a very positive thing, and I just want to invite you all to step up to the podium and at least introduce yourselves if there aren't any questions from school board members.
My name is Monique Herzig, and I'm on the library board, and I'm really excited about this opportunity that we have for actual collaboration in our community that builds our whole community. So thank you very much.
I'm Adrienne Gilmore, and I'm also on the library board, and we're really excited about this opportunity to work with everybody in our community and our kids and our schools and our teachers and really just bring this together so everyone can benefit. We all know the importance of a library in a community, so this is a really great opportunity for all of us to make it thrive. So thank you.
Patrick Dengate, currently president of the library board. On behalf of the whole board, I just want to tell you all how much we appreciate the time and effort the school board members and Superintendent Pruitt have put into this. I think right from the beginning when a district library was still in the conceptual stage, you guys really shared our forward-looking vision for a healthier, financially stable, and secure library, and saw how that would benefit the schools and the community, and ultimately the region. So thank you. I think people in the future will look back on this and say this was a really wise move. These are really financially uncertain times. So thank you very much. One thing I wanted to point out, in your resolution wording, under establishment, right at the beginning, Roman numeral 1, letter D, the effective date in the agreement is actually December 31st, 2014, rather than when the state librarian approves the agreement.
So that change?
Yes.
So that would be one of those examples of the things that we would, if that were to happen, say tomorrow, something similar would happen
Right.
tomorrow, our resolution would cover that. Right. Cover that.
Yeah.
So we do need an amendment for that. We're comfortable leaving that.
So that's in the agreement itself rather than the resolution.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, oh, I see.
So we can make that, so that when it will be changed in the final agreement.
Hi, I'm Judine Bartos, also on the library board, and want to echo my fellow board members, and I'm really excited to partner with the schools, especially readers today, leaders tomorrow. Thank you.
All right.
Forgot who already talked. I'm Jessica Kaiser. I'm the director of the Ferndale Public Library, and I'm very excited about this new formation of the library. I do think that it is going to present a lot more opportunities for collaboration, and at the library we are really focused on lifelong learning from birth to the grave and supporting all of our students and all of our residents. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
If you have
So
any
does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Yes, Amy.
So could you summarize, you were mentioning, Patrick, about the financial stability and how this will enhance financial stability for the library. If we could just hear from whoever wants to address that in terms of how that will happen as a result of this collaboration.
Well, the biggest advantage financially is that the District Library Establishment Act allows for a library to go for up to 4 mills, or be funded by up to 4 mills. Currently, we're capped at 2 mills as a public library formed under the PA 164 Act. So that is the largest financial advantage that we'll have. That will require a vote in the future, so that won't be an immediate change, but it will enhance our possibilities.
And then one other question regarding the timing. I believe that this is expected to be on the agenda for the Ferndale City Council at its next meeting. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the expectation.
Right.
Things are in flux at the moment, but yeah, what this requires is that your board has to approve it, the library board, and the city council. There are 3 parties to the agreement. So yeah, they have a meeting a week from today, and that's we expect to see that on their agenda. So
the other one of the other key non-financial benefits, I think, to the library and to anyone really interested in good government is the fact that the state law that governs district libraries is so much more complete and well written, and in fact modern. It was written in 1989 and it's subsequently been somewhat amended, but the law that governs the city library right now was written in 1877, and times were different then.
We still have to have the trough out in front of the library legally.
And this does seem to be the trend. This isn't unique among our community.
Right.
This is the trend that libraries are taking advantage of, but we are hobbled a little bit in that the law that gives us the ability to form under this, the newer statute, sunsets December 31st. So we have to move a little bit quicker on
And I believe in the packet that you have a map that President Dengate worked on that corresponds with the description of the boundaries. That's in Exhibit A, so you can see the map there. The proposed district library boundaries outlined in red. So in case anybody has questions on that, and we'll get this up on the website since it was just delivered in its most recent version this afternoon, late this afternoon. So, all right. Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolutions adopting or approving a district library agreement and the resolution approving the property transfer agreement at this time. Kevin?
Yes.
You're making the motion? All right. Jen? All right. This is the second. So moved by Kevin and seconded by Jen. Is there any discussion or questions on the motion? Kevin?
Could I just, this is terribly exciting for me, having been on the library board in the past and having seen how the library has gone through all of these steps. It really is a huge change from what we used to see. In the old days, we had a library that was a city department, that was the ignored branch of the city. That's moved to an elected board and a publicly funded mill, 2 mills. And that's moved things dramatically. And we've seen, I think all of us have seen, an incredible amount of cooperation from the library over the past 5 years. It wasn't as if the library wasn't trying before that. I hope the library's also seen a lot of cooperation from the schools. But I think the degree to which they are no longer separate islands, they're no longer not talking to one another, but in fact are working so closely together that they're forming a cooperative public institution here, I think shows how far we've come and gives us the opportunity to go further. So thank you all for coming to us, for all of the service that you all do, for making a great library, and I think this is the next step in making this a fantastic community organization.
You're here.
I absolutely agree with everything that Kevin said about it. I'm super thrilled about this. I mean, I spend a lot of time at the library. I went with my kids' 5th grade class. We've walked from Coolidge to the library. The library is always welcomed my children and all the other children that I bring with in open arms. To me, this is just such a natural step. I couldn't be more thrilled.
Same.
Excellent.
I don't know, how can you add to that? It's fantastic. I know my daughter is a regular there. She loves the anime department and the community art book, and just all the wonderful times that her class field trips have gone there, and my son's classes have collaborated. It's just really beautiful. And I even remember a couple of times where Director Kaiser reached out to me about specific student groups that were meeting up there and how could she better serve those groups. And I just appreciate that you were always very proactive in coming forth and how do we work together for students, and that just is really special to me, so thank you.
And I'll just jump on the bandwagon and say thank you to all of you for all of your hard work in keeping the library as important and wonderful as it is. It's a gem, and it's like a hub of our Ferndale, and it means so much to me and to my family and my kids. They could not have been more proud when they got their first library card. So thank you, and I'm so excited about what we can bring to our community and all of our kids together. So.
There's no pressure, Amy, but you'd be the only one not to speak.
I am? Am I the only one?
No, I have something too.
You go.
Okay.
But I knew Raylon wanted to say something.
I just want to say that I'm really excited that this library can just continue to grow. It's not any given day I'm in that library getting stacks of books like this for my kids, and I'm excited that the kids in this district will have the opportunity to utilize even greater services than they have. So thank you.
I'll say I'm looking forward to the ideas that already have been talked about in terms of some of the collaborative projects to work between the staff at the library and the library board and the schools and the teachers and the classes and the different programs that we have. I know I've already heard a few of the ideas, and I'm going to be looking forward to seeing some of those become reality.
All right.
Can I say just one more small?
Yes,
just
absolutely.
related to the specifics of the law. Just in case
Yeah.
anyone would have any questions, this doesn't obligate anyone in the community to pay more, to do a higher millage. What it allows the library to do is to make the case to the citizens within that boundary. The library's made that case well in the past. I assume they will make it well in the future. When they do, I will support it wholeheartedly. But nobody's on the hook for anything more right now. What this allows the library to do is to have some more control over its own finance, which is very important, both in terms of being its own fiduciary agent or finding a fiduciary agent, and talking to the voters about increased funding sources, specifically millages. But that's the case that the library will be able to make in the future because of this. It's not something that's happening now.
Right. Yeah, just to support what Kevin's saying, this is what we're doing now is laying a foundation for lots of exciting things to happen, some sooner, some a little later, but yeah, we're building a foundation for something even greater.
And I guess just to piggyback on that a little bit in terms of some of the practical effects, in terms of the day-to-day use of the library, the current library card holders, there's really not going to be any sort of change to how our library functions, in the front office part. Everything's going to be the same. You go, you check out books, you read them, you bring them back. I mean, that's really...
That's correct.
There's going to be a lot of changes behind the scenes in terms of sort of how the library functions, some other programming of the library, but the use of the library is going to remain the same for everybody who already does use the library.
Correct.
Okay.
And if you don't bring them back, you pay a hefty fine.
Amy, if you could talk to my kids about the bringing them back part, that would be very helpful.
In fact, I just got my email reminder yesterday. Mine are due tomorrow, so I'll be over. I'll see you tomorrow.
My collection notice.
All right. Yes. That was my last vote as a library board member to establish the collection agreement.
Oh, thank you very much. I get a lot of those.
I look at it as my donation.
I look at it as a donation too. I'm like, oh.
All right. Well, I think we're ready to vote, so we'll have the roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And with 7 yes and 0 no, the motion is adopted and the resolutions are approved. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to many years of collaboration. Thank you.
Yes. All right.
Yes, sir. I hope so.
All right, next up is request for approval of DLC technology. We'll go back to Mr. Pruitt.
So in evaluating our technology at DLC, our Distance Learning Center, we've been using Verizon cards for the last 2 years. Oakland Schools, in reviewing, is recommending moving to a different card that would be less expensive and provide more control of content. In order to maintain our seat time waiver, we must provide a form of online access on and off campus, so we do not have a choice in terms of providing some type of card for students. My recommendation in Oakland Schools is the approval of the Khajiit Wireless Access Card. It is made for education. It's designed for online education, is used primarily for educational institutes. I would recommend we sign up for 3-month contracts in order to remove any drop students every 3 months. Generally, our DLC enrollment declines during the course of the year. So in previous years, we just continued to pay for cards even though students had dropped out because we had already started them. So in doing 3-month increments, we can then decrease our cost as we move forward, or if for some reason we increase enrollment, we can increase. Our current count is around 380. Count period won't be done here for another week or so. So we would look at ordering about 380 cards for the first 3 months and then adjust from there. The attached quote is for 400 cards. We would adjust it based upon the enrollment at the end of this week. For 400, it's approximately $29,000. I'm asking the board to approve the purchase of the Khajiit cards for the entire year, not to exceed $90,000. So that would take us to the end of the school year, not into the summer. As I've informed the board in the past that the district has paid for summer Verizon cards. We'd like to stop at the end of the school year and then reassess how many students actually need access for summer school instead of just moving everyone forward. Last year we spent over $200,000 in Verizon cards, so therefore this would be over $100,000 savings for this year by moving forward with these cards, and also allow us to block certain access of students so it is educational access. So I'm asking for the school board to approve the Khajiit cards not to exceed $90,000 for the school year.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve that request. Moved by Karen and seconded by Kevin. Any discussion on the motion?
Just a clarification, Blake, in your narrative here, you refer to Oakland Schools having recommended this, and by this you mean Oakland Schools in its capacity as managing our technology department.
Correct. Yes.
Not an Oakland Schools mandate that says everybody has to do this. They're
No.
just, that was just sort of shorthand in terms of our new technology staff basically is suggesting this.
Correct. I gave Oakland Schools Technology a directive to give us options of what we could do instead of Verizon cards, since the problem of both budget and content management were issues with Verizon. So in their investigation, this was their recommendation.
I mean, the reason that we see this reduction is that it's not just decreasing the number of students, so there's a minor one at the DLC. This is a decrease in the per unit cost by almost by half. Is that right? Or, I mean,
it's both. I mean, their enrollment has decreased in DLC for last year, since last year, so that is part of it, as well as the overall cost per unit is less. Correct.
It's a significant savings over what we've been paying in the past, and I think it's a testimony to you and to the bringing in Oakland Schools to do technology, that when we bring in people who have experience in this, they can help us with this kind of thing. That by being associated with a larger institution, a larger public institution, we save money, and I think it's a great move. So thank you for pursuing this. This is $100,000 we would have just spent for no additional purpose, and we're not spending it on that now. So
And a change in the practice as well, that by making sure that when kids are no longer with us, that fee terminates, whereas before we maybe weren't as swift in that.
Correct. Yep.
Both cheaper and better. Pretty remarkable.
This is always nice when you can get both.
Right.
Yes. Indeed. All right, seeing no other discussion, we're ready for a roll call on the motion to approve the purchase of Khajiit cards in an amount not to exceed $90,000 for the school year.
Yes. Julie?
Yes.
Butter?
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. So with 7 yes and 0 no, the motion is adopted and the request is approved. Next up is the superintendent's report.
All right. Since I'm done with my 90-day plan, what I'd like to do every month is kind of inform the board of what's going on in our buildings. Just keep yourself and the community updated. Make sure my mic's on. At Grant, our Head Start Readiness program has obtained full enrollment. We have partnered with the MSU Extension Campus to provide the Show Me Nutrition program. October is Fire Safety Month, and Grant students love Stan the Fireman. So if you ever head over, see they had their first assembly where the students learned to stop, drop, and roll, as well as the end of classes took turns writing on the mini fire engine made for just their size. At Roosevelt, they've just completed first grade Jump Start. It's the first time for Roosevelt to administer a few letter sound assessments during the first 2 days and then form literacy groups. They had targeted instruction with small groups during the last 5 weeks with our first graders. Roosevelt has seen great growth in that. Our reading specialist, early intervention, and Title I reading pair are all part of this Jump Start program. Second grade enjoyed a field trip to Greenfield Village to experience some hands-on activities. Also, kindergarten is off to the apple orchard to go along with their science curriculum. And for many of the kindergartners, it's their first bus ride or field trip. Oh, that is always fun. Coolidge started off our first cycle of extended day learning. So we are finishing up the first cycle next week. Coolidge had their first all-school morning meeting, introducing myself and Diana, our new Roosevelt principal. It's always fun to run through a stack of kids and give high fives and hear kids giving stories about what it means to be a good student, and the 6th graders modeling for the 4th graders. This is how we are in Coolidge. This is how we take care of each other. It was very impressive to see the leaders in the 6th grade and the student really kind of tell the 4th graders, this is how we act here. This is what it means to be a Coolidge student. So they also had their cheer team proudly sing Coolidge's school song, which I'm still working on it. And if you get there, they have repainted the office. It is beautiful kind of primary colors. It's a very welcoming environment. And we also have a new greeter there, Miss Wanda Riches. So at JFK, they have had their first Star Wars Reads Day, 3rd annual. Miss Lynn Dahlman had the idea for kindergarten kids, and they opened it up for all classes. Kids wore t-shirts and costumes and celebrated reading. Mr. Moy, who's one of our string teachers, came over dressed as a Jedi Master. If you know Mr. Moy, he is very, very into Star Wars. Make sure that you always say hi to him on May 4th. That's official Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. It truly is. Look online. It is true. It's Star Wars Day.
Kevin, you've never really... never heard that? Oh my goodness.
Even I
All right, I'll get back on task. I'll send you a link. JFK is planning a college day with Roosevelt and Coolidge. Ferndale Middle School, 98 students were given $100 gift cards to shop at Kohl's. This was made possible by the Assistance League of Southeast Michigan. Former head counselor from Ferndale High School spearheaded this opportunity. The students represented Ferndale schools very well, and both store personnel and Assistance League personnel were impressed with our students, their behavior, and their gratitude. And this took place on a Saturday a few weeks ago. We also have 3 middle school teachers volunteering some after school with our students, Power Hour, 3 days a week. Especially in math, we have at least 30 students taking advantage of this opportunity. At Ferndale High School, you heard a lot from our student. One thing that we just got today, Gaudete Brass, which is a professional brass group out of Chicago, will be with our band tomorrow doing some master classes. I've heard Gaudete before in person. They're a phenomenal group.
How do you spell that?
G-A-U-T-E-T-E. It's Latin for rejoice. And they said they held their parent-teacher conferences. It was greatly increased from last year. They took the mock ACT. We have National Honor Society at Ferndale High School on Tuesday. At University High School, the C2 pipeline, which is funded by a 5-year grant in cooperation with the Wayne State School of Nursing. It provides 3 hours of after-school programming for 50 students per day, 4 days a week, all year long, focusing on STEM careers. The program provides a meal, tutoring, and STEM enrichment. The program has been up and running for about 3 weeks, and we have the highest student enrollment of all 15 high schools involved. So it's been a great start. And then last Wednesday evening, UHS had its NHS induction where they inducted 38 students. At Distance Learning Center, they had their highest percentage of students show up on count day, 85%. Oakland University Nursing Program has reached out to DLC to do a presentation on infant safe sleep. And then we have our first graduate. We're just waiting for one extension course, and then we'll have our first graduate of the year from DLC. So I know the board had asked for Plant Moran to give a quick assessment of where they were in the bond process. There's a memorandum in the board packet, which I will review quickly. Just some current benefits of PMC, or Plant Moran Cressa. They've saved us around $8,000 in doing additional bids for our abatement from what was originally quoted. Analysis of some contract language and payment application structure regarding construction manager and allowance and contingencies. We've saved about $88,000 in that area with their help. We have some potential savings of $5,000 regarding some language, and then reassigning district-wide security improvements from TMP to Ferndale is a savings of about $42,000. So we've accrued a good deal of savings in the first couple months of our engagement with them. And some other things is just in terms of PMC being able to work to get where we are in our finances with the bond, to identify the interest that we've made so far in the bond, and being the liaison between both TMP, AUK, as well as our legal counsel, and as well as other third-party vendors to help us go through those pieces. They've been a good check and balance to make sure that we're doing the day-to-day duties that we need to do to take care of the bond. So that is the short memorandum from Plant Moran Cressa. And a couple quick areas of communication. Obviously, we had a great homecoming, very successful event. Our new website will be up and running shortly. I was reviewing it today with the communications group. We should hopefully have that up at the end of this week, beginning of next week. And our new winter newsletter is in process. So that is the superintendent's report for today.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none, we will move on to the curriculum and instruction report.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My report just goes under the 4 instructional goals of our school year, which is high quality instruction, school culture, intervention and enrichment, and data and assessment. So to start off, I'll talk about high quality instruction. Our professional learning communities have started on the early release Mondays. The first Monday is dedicated to grade level or school-based information. The other 3 Mondays are focused on content information. So that looks different at K-6 than 7-12. But I will say one of the highlights of that is that at the 7-12 secondary level, for example, all of our ELA, English Language Arts teachers, grades 7 through 12 meet. All of our math teachers, grades 7 through 12 meet, and so on, science and social studies. So that core area and looking at those vertical alignments. When we think about professional learning communities, it's a very focused time to provide systematic support to help our teachers who make decisions that affect student achievement. It provides a clear focus on what our students need to learn, and really provides that insightful feedback and dialogue with our staff, instructional staff members that we have, and just gives them time to work together. So very excited about that. Also under high quality instruction, we have a group of administrators and a board member and teachers will be attending Grand Rapids, a Project Lead the Way conference in October to learn more about Project Lead the Way. Project Lead the Way is an activity-based and problem-solving curriculum based in the sciences. So very excited about that. Also under high-quality instruction, really working with administrators and supporting each school on an individualized basis. Blake and I, Mr. Pruitt and I have been meeting each month with each principal, and just it's been a wonderful dialogue and experience, and being able to support each building an administrator where they need to be. And the last part under high quality instruction, can't say enough about the professional development opportunities that all of our instructional staff members have been coming to. We have an incredibly passionate group of teachers, and hearing the dialogue with them every time we meet has just been sensational. Anytime I'm having a rough day, when I get to be part of those professional development opportunities, it's mind-blowing what our teachers are doing, and just really enjoying those professional development opportunities. Under school culture, our comprehensive behavior plan with our positive behavior support planning, starting this week, I am meeting with each PBIS team at each building for a half a day and looking at our efforts in moving forward with our behavior plans and really focusing on school culture in regards to that. Also, this week we rolled out a new medical update and procedure and system-wide thought process for all schools, working with Ray Locke, our Director of Special Ed. So we really have some very new and up-to-date medical procedures, including our students with allergies and asthma, seizures, diabetics, everyone. So we're all on the same page. So I'm thankful for the special ed department and principals working with me to get that set in stone. Under intervention and enrichment, we are moving into a few different activities or processes, I should say. For K-6, we'll be moving to Study Island, which is designed for to master content in reading, math, science, and social studies. And at the 7-12 level, we'll be looking at an intervention process for our middle and secondary schools called AccuSess. And those teachers will be receiving some professional development on November 4th in regards to how we can implement a system that not only provides intervention to our students who need the intervention, but also enrichment to those who need to have a little boost. So excited about that. And the last thing I want to touch base on is under data and assessment, which is the NWEA. I want to give a shout out that all teachers, no matter what subjects or what grades they taught, took the time to do their online training to understand what NWEA was. So if you were the orchestra or music teacher, you still went and did that training. So now they can understand where all of their children that they're working with or students are, where they're at and where they can move forward. When we think about NWEA, it is a growth model process that our students will do, take interim assessment 3 times a year. And this data will give us information to plan individual or group instruction, monitor our student growth, predict state assessment performance, diagnose students their strengths and weaknesses, and establish students' precise instructional level, and project proficiency. So if you have a student who starts in kindergarten, you can project proficiency at the 6th grade level all the way to the 12th grade level. So it's not just year by year information, but really projected growth for your students. So very excited about that and very thankful to all of our instructional staff, teachers and parapros who were part of that training and moving forward. On Monday, we started our NWEA test at Roosevelt. That's today. And the middle school, and all went well.
All right.
And at the same time students were completing their testing, teachers were receiving the reports on where those students are, and parents will receive those reports very quickly. That's the beauty of that. So very excited about that. And I will leave you with that on November 13th is World Kindness Day, and our curriculum department is going to begin a Random Acts of Kindness Club for all of our students in Ferndale. So we'll give you some more information about that. But think about what you can do to make a commitment on November 13th to do something kind for someone else. What questions do you have for me? Blake's really thinking hard, aren't you?
Well,
Kevin has a question.
Dina, you answered my question basically when you were talking about NWEA. I know the elementary parent-teacher conferences are scheduled for when? Sometime in November?
November 4th and November 5th.
So parents and
or
teachers
6th.
can chat about that at those conferences, do you think? Or
Yes,
will
absolutely.
Will be there, and so that'll be a really nice thing for the parents to be able to ask about that. I mean, the timing is really good there.
Kevin?
In the Achievement Committee, you talked briefly about rolling out the NWEA and this being the first time. And I thought this might be a good chance for you to talk to parents and to everybody about those kinds of initial steps, that this is really a lot about getting the students familiar with taking this and so on. It's got to happen sometime. We haven't done it up to this point, unlike other districts around us. And so in that sense, we probably shouldn't, especially for the lower grades, put too much emphasis on this one. This is our first step, because kids are still trying to figure out how to scroll and move things around and so on.
Without a doubt. I mean, if we can start developing common vocabulary with our teachers and our students and our parents, if our students start to learn how to go through an online assessment and figure out the ins and outs and to stay focused, all of those things will contribute to their success over time. So this year we started at 2nd grade and we went through 10th grade, but our goal is to implement from K kindergarten through 11th grade next year.
And all data is 1 point. You always want to try, whenever possible, to triangulate your data. And just one story of another district using the NWA even was the first time doing it. They noticed the same score almost across all kids in one standard area. And I went, yeah, we don't teach that standard in this grade. Oh, that would be why that's missing there. And then you can have a good conversation about, do we need to teach the standard here? If so, why? If not, why not? Then we negate that. So the main point is the conversation that it can generate, and to give you a piece of data that then you can use to look at other points of data.
The other thing that was really exciting was the integration between this and the Study Island, which replaces IXL, or at least supplements for this year IXL, and then for the future going out replaces it, and apparently, according to you, offers a lot more subject areas, social studies and science, in addition to offering really better use of information and so on.
Right, so every time a student goes and does an interim assessment on NWEA, that information is automatically transferred to your student's Study Island or AccuSess online component. And so it will take your student where he or she is at with their strengths and move them forward, and then also focus on the weaknesses and move them forward. So Study Island can be done at home and at school. And Study Island is very different because it can be used for our students who are having difficulties, as well as our students who are really high flyers and need to have a little more stuff to move forward with that.
I just had a couple of questions. First, you talked about tonight and in previous months just a tremendous amount of work that you're doing, and I really salute you and your staff and all of the teachers and other staff members that are working on all of these initiatives. But could you talk just a little bit about how you're managing the risks of maybe burnout and multiple priorities, both you and the staff?
That's November 13th.
The burnout date?
At random acts of
random
kindness.
Our instructional team, which includes myself, Tom Mays, Beth Grillo, all of the administrators, and all of our instructional lead teachers, together we're very strong, so I don't see any burnout. We have to research everything that's a possibility when we're looking at the restructuring effort, and decide what's best fit for our kids. So if we're not doing that work right now, then we're really not putting our best foot forward on what we need to do to support our district as it moves forward. We're also trying out for a 5-hour energy commercial, so we're at the top of the lead.
A lot of the conversations we've been having as a cabinet and as an administrative team is, we're in the exploration phase. What are the things out there the district maybe hasn't looked at before that have been successful in other districts, or that is research based? Hence the Project Lead the Way that's coming up next week. And then once we kind of get everything on the table, then we can really start to decide what makes the most sense for Ferndale. Some things like the NWA are an easy fit and make sense with what we already have budgeted, and that they're a better, quote unquote, bang for our buck educationally than maybe something we might have been doing formerly. But we're in that brainstorming exploratory phase. So I've told Dina and her team multiple times, so here's another idea, let's just look into it. We're not saying we're doing it. We had Avid here today. That was something else we were exploring. And it had a great conversation about, if it fits, where it fits, in those different pieces. So we're kind of at the point of, we have everything on the table. Now let's start putting the pieces together so that by January everything is set in motion for the next year, so we can make the proper plans accordingly. So I know we're trying to get through the brainstorming and the exploration phase so that we know what really fits well with Ferndale.
Excellent. Well, yeah, there's just such a tremendous amount of energy that really you and your whole cabinet team have brought into the district. And even though, Dina, you've been in the district for many years now, you're in your role here. And so maybe it's just a little bit of a culture shock or something to us, but it is a 1,000-fold difference between, I think, what people in the district had been seeing in terms of energy and initiative and ideas and focus on all of the schools in the district and making it one district, which is your vision. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I have a phenomenal team, and they all do a great job. And the instructional team is extremely strong. We are so lucky to have such great leaders here in the district.
And then my second question is more of a long-term question, just to think about and bring back later. And that's, with these initiatives, what kind of information or how would you see reporting to the board in terms of progress on what's working and what's not? So rather than try to answer that now, just sort of put that in the back of your mind. And it's something, you know, now that we have more points of information, whether it's data or qualitative information, what makes sense in terms of coming back to the board and reporting at a board level rather than more granular instructional or operations level on progress.
And kind of related to that too, I guess something that just popped into my head in terms of when you're dealing with data, and also in regards to parental involvement with their child's data. We see it already with MyStar, where parents discover MyStar, and then all of a sudden it's like watching the stock market, and they watch it really closely, and it almost becomes, it's not productive because you're watching it too closely. Do you understand what I'm saying? In terms of, we don't want to create a culture of parents hovering over their kids and making sure that their lines are going up, their data lines are going up. You know what I mean? In terms of almost micromanaging. And I guess I would like to just sort of point that out as something that, is that a concern, or is that something that educators talk about? Or
we want to be more holistic than that.
We want to look at the big picture. We want to look at the improvement over the course of the year, not the improvement over the course of the month. Or, I mean, that too, but, you don't want to fixate, I guess.
In the data, and Dina can correct me on this, with the NWA, it's 3 points during the year. So you're looking at year's growth.
Right.
And the study elements attached to it is the piece that a student can kind of see some of their own personal growth moving forward, but it's not per se a grade, but it's something, if you are a parent and you want to see, is my student progressing from where they started from, it'll give you something concrete to see. Mm-hmm. And so the conversation, we hope, moves from compliance and points to student growth. Mm-hmm. And so that's the piece that we hope to start changing the conversation of what we're doing.
I think just talking to parents, most recently last week at the high school, was it the high school or was it middle school? High school conferences last week, and just middle school, it was middle school last week, and just especially with middle school parents, a lot of them are just becoming familiar with MyStar. This is when they first sort of are really using it as a way to keep tabs on their kids' work, and it's just interesting to hear how different parents use it, and so it's another way for parents to be involved and to do what's best for their kids, set their kids up for success.
And I just want to give a shout out and tell you how appreciative I am, because we have in the past talked a lot about data and assessments and curriculum, and the thing that I most appreciate is hearing how you're now addressing the behavior planning, the culture, the climate of the classroom, the instruction, the ways to better engage the kids. And these are the things I think that empower a teacher, make that classroom feel more successful, and break that cycle that you're worried about with the fatigue and the, that feeling of being beaten down. And so I think that that's the thing that I love hearing about is what you're doing to empower our teachers and ultimately our kids. So thank
Well, the most high-performing schools have the best school culture, so you have to start there and create that culture of achievement. And it's the teachers that are doing that, not I. Really, come to a positive behavior support, professional development, and you'll leave in awe.
I think Jim got sick of me saying that word culture during our strategic planning process.
Culture is important.
Well, I just wanted to thank you and your entire team. It's clear in the short amount of time that you guys have been working on this that you've really focused on that achievement and that opportunity gap, and you are coming at it from every single angle that possibly can be looked at, from the teacher, professional development, from the remodeling of the early release Mondays and the teams that are working together, to the culture of the school, to the discipline across K through 12. It's incredible. And then adding in the peer-to-peer programs, so we're talking about special ed and talking about the nursing program with the STEM at UHS. You are really working at every single angle on this, and I appreciate that so much because it's been such a need that we've seen for so many years, and you guys have just hit the ground running in the last 2 or 3 months. So thank you to you and everybody for all your hard work.
Thank you.
And now our best thank you to you is probably to wrap it up.
All right. And next up is the Human Resources Report. Mr. Shelton.
Thank you. Good evening. Just a few quick updates. Most of the information I have to share with you this evening was in your board packets, but would like to take a few minutes tonight to talk about our teacher evaluation system and the steps that we've taken over the last month since the last time we spoke. Blake has spent a lot of time talking about his 90-day plan coming in. Believe it or not, I think tomorrow is officially my 90th day, and I'm at the end of my 3rd month. It's hard to believe. But my biggest goal coming in was really to address teacher evaluation in a really meaningful and aggressive way. So we are now in the ending phases of our implementation of Teachscape and implementing the Charlotte Danielson framework for teaching. Teachscape is the company that we're contracting with for the system, and I expect within the next day or two they should have the system completely set up and we should be live with teachers and administrators. Last week I published a guidebook to share with teachers that really has some step-by-step information and things that they need to know about the evaluation system. I have shared with you previously, but just so that everybody is clear, there's 2 different things at play when we talk about teacher evaluations. Charlotte Danielson's rubrics are really the framework for defining effective teaching. This company called Teachscape is the delivery model, the delivery method for Danielson. So Teachscape is the company, Teachscape is the platform, Danielson is the actual rubric. So if you get confused about those 2 terms, it's important to keep them straight. The guidebook I shared with teachers, I've gotten some positive feedback on, and I also this afternoon did my first of what I will hope to accomplish in the next 2 weeks, which is staff meetings in every building across the district. So this afternoon I went to Coolidge. I spent a good half hour with Coolidge staff going through kind of step by step the evaluation process, answering questions or concerns that they have. And that's a really important step. Between now and November 4th, I hope to have hit every building in the district with that. Next step in terms of rollout with teachers are some clinics that I intend to do between now and the end of the year. Teachscape is, as Mr. Tallisford referenced in his comments at the beginning, much more technology intensive than I think our teaching staff is used to dealing with. So between now and the end of the year, I'm going to schedule many clinics for teachers after school hours, before school hours across the district. So if teachers need help with that technology side of it, I'll be available to help them with that. And finally, I want to give a shout out to our administrators who are going through this training right now. At this point, our administrators have done 6 hours of face-to-face training in this new system. And between now and the end of January, they're going to do another 20 to 24 hours of online training and assessment. Which is really one of the biggest advantages we had when we signed on with Teachscape, which is that sense of consistency between the administrators. The administrators can't finish the training until they can pass an assessment to show that they can fairly assess in a lesson and give it a fair effectiveness rating. So that is basically what I want to share about teacher evaluation tonight. I don't have to share my Career Center update tonight since Pam opened up the meeting today, but you know, we are closely watching that budget. I met with Pam and with Sue in our grants accounting late last week, and we're continuing to watch things as that budget develops. And would like to mention to everybody that we do have open enrollment coming for our employees in the month of November. It's the first time we've done a November open enrollment with our staff, so we're getting our stuff together right now, and that should be getting out to staff very soon. And you had several items from me in the consent agenda. Most importantly, though, of those consent agenda items, I do want to highlight some new hires, which is Lauren Deal, who's doing Latchkey in our Little Eagles program here at Harding. Joy Krause, who's doing Latchkey at Roosevelt. And finally, a new English teacher at University High School, Edwin Rabel. So I'd like to welcome all of them to the Ferndale District. I answer any questions that you have. Okay, thank you.
Next up, finance report. This is our first board meeting with Assistant Superintendent of Finance Nancy Hooper. So, welcome.
First of all, I just want to say how really excited I am to be here at Ferndale. Tom said he'd finished 3 months. I've just completed 1. So, and also, I don't want to go behind Dina anymore. So if I can, because nobody really, finance is never fun. So
it is to me.
Okay, good. At least I have someone. I just wanted to mention, as Trustee Toomey stated, we are working towards greater transparency in our department. And one of the first things that we're going to do, not only will we be bringing the bills to the board as we're required to, but we're also going to be posting those online so that our public can view those, you know, anytime, you know, from the comfort of their own home, if they so choose to do that. So that's a project that we're working on, and hopefully, I'm hoping by the end of November or early December that we'll be able to have those out there on our website, on our new website. Our department, we're just completing our year-end audit, and we will be bringing that to you in November for your approval. And finally, every 5 years we're required to go out for a food service bid. So we're starting to work on that process. The process is dictated by the state of Michigan on how you have to do that. And so we will be getting our RFP together, and we'll be putting that out hopefully in January, and we'll be bringing that to you in the spring.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for Nancy? I just want to say that I'm excited to work on really putting together a good set of financial reports that will help us at a board level have a better idea of what's happening with the financial operations of the district. And I was talking with a former board president, my uncle, who started the finance committee back when he was on the board in the late 70s. And he said the battle back then was trying to move the finance department away from just giving us the checkbook register to read and get some real financial reports to review. So I'm just glad we're moving in that direction, and maybe we'll have to invite him to the next sustainability committee meeting
So you're saying
just
it
to see
only
it.
took 4 decades.
Right.
Awesome.
Not one of your uncle's triumphs, is what you're saying.
It was a long, hard battle, but yeah. If he could be around for the final victory lap, that would be good there.
I just want to say I'm also really excited that you're here, and I'm looking forward to the community being able to access better financial reports through our website. And I know that's going to take a little bit of time, so I totally get that, but I'm really excited that that's the direction that we're moving in.
All right. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
All right, next up is consideration of the pulled consent agenda item, which was 6.3. And the only amendment that I would like to propose in that is in the bylaws on page 13 of the PDF, which is bylaw 0167.3, public participation at board meetings. In the bottom third of the page, it says the presiding officer may, and under bullet point A, we have struck irrelevant and repetitive, and I would like to strike the word frivolous. So I would move that we strike the word frivolous from that statement. So it would read, the presiding officer may A, interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, obscene, abusive, or harassing. Semicolon. So I'll make that motion to amend it, and I just need a second. Seconded by many people, but I think Nan's hand went up first. Any discussion on the amendment?
I thought that this was already in there, but this, had we just talked about it, but we hadn't actually, it hadn't actually gotten into
This was a different one?
And there was another point in there that it was struck in
I
section
see.
B.
Okay.
You just didn't get both points.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
So it's
I
making it
remember.
consistent.
In the preceding section, it was struck, but not in this section.
Having
Good
voted
eye,
no on it,
by the way.
originally, it's great to vote yes on taking it out.
All right, I was there for that.
Yes.
So if there's no other discussion on the motion to amend by striking the word frivolous, we can have a roll call on that amendment.
Susie? Yes.
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 Yes. And with 7 yes and 0 no, the amendment is agreed to. And I will now entertain a motion to approve the second reading and adopt the policies and bylaws changes as presented and amended. Moved by Karen. Seconded by Jen. Any discussion on the motion? All right, roll call, please.
Butters? Yes.
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 Yes. And with 7 yes and 0 no, the motion is adopted and the policies and bylaw changes are approved. I wanted to ask unanimous consent to add one item to the agenda that Karen reminded me of, which is that we have to approve as a board our official delegates to the MASB Delegate Assembly.
So, as you are aware, the MASB is hosting their annual conference November 6th, the weekend of November 6th, and so we every year have the opportunity to send official delegates to be on the floor as they discuss any resolutions being proposed this year. This year they are just amendments, there's new resolutions, but it's usually some healthy conversation and something that offers an opportunity to network with other school board members on relevant policy issues. So is there anybody who is planning or willing to be there on the evening of Thursday, November 6th?
I've registered for that evening. I mean, that day's work. So I will be there.
That's on the Friday?
Thursday evening.
Thursday.
Oh, I can't do that.
Will you be there yet?
I will not be there yet, so I believe that we, to make it official, should make a motion to nominate Jim to be our official delegate to the assembly. So I would like to make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. Moved and seconded to name Jim O'Donnell the delegate to the MASB Delegate Assembly of 2014. Any discussion on the motion? All right. We can just do this by unanimous consent. Any objection? Is there an objection to approving the motion? Hearing none, it is approved. Next up is the Eagle Points of Pride. Where should we start? We started that side this last time, I think. So Let's start with Raylan this time for our Eagle Point of Pride.
Well, I have a lot of them, but I'll just talk about one because I'm sure they'll be touched on throughout our group. I know all of you know that unfortunately we had a student who was hit by a car a couple of weeks ago. And from what I hear from mother, she's doing well. And the reason why it's an Eagle Point of Pride for me is because one of our parents came up with the idea of conducting a meal train. And what that is that everyone signs up on a website a day to bring a meal so that the family can eat for the night. And I just want you to know that I took my meal over today, and I talked with the mom, and she's doing, and the child is doing well. And it just is testament to how the community will come together for our students. The teachers, parents alike all came together for this student, and it's a really proud moment for me, so thank you all.
Thank you.
Amy? I would just like to give a thank you to, over the last couple of weeks, there's a group of parents and other volunteers that have been working on the campus of Ferndale High School and Middle School, and working on pulling weeds and planting new plants. And there were a lot of families within the district who donated hostas and other plants from their own yards to be planted in our school grounds. And Western Market also, right here in our community, I know donated some mums to be planted. And so I wanted to thank our parent, Gretchen Abrams, who led that effort, and I know there were a lot of others that were involved. And I think it's just a really great example of people seeing a need and not calling up Blake and saying, why don't you fix it? It's how can we fix it? And because that's obviously something that our community is very, very capable of doing themselves. And I know I know there was at least one non-parent volunteer also who helped. So I was impressed by that.
And Ann Kelly, who was here earlier, was a big part of putting that together too.
I'm not going to do that one.
Take that one?
It's okay, I wrote two down just to be on the safe side.
You never want to follow Amy.
No.
She always beats you to it.
I want to give a shout out to the girls swim team. I know that they have done a great job this year. They don't have a whole lot of swimmers. I don't think they even have enough swimmers to even win a meet, even if they win every single event. So the perseverance and the dedication of those girls and that coach to keep their season going and to still practice and to still get out there for every meet and try their best every event that they swim, I think that's absolutely incredible, and I think it just goes to the caliber of the students and the staff that we have here. So a shout out to the girls swim team. They're the speed swim team, not the synchronized swim team.
You know I wanted to.
All right, Blake?
One of the benefits of being superintendent, you get to go out to a lot of different events within the community and within the buildings. And one I happened to be at last week was the Coolidge Family Game Night. And it was great to see a whole gym full of parents and kids getting together, parents listening about what to do to help their children learn, the kids having fun, enjoying being in school. It was just great to see that gym packed and to see all the teachers that were there. Mr. Bruner did a great job of leading that. The PTA did a great job, and a lot of teacher leadership. So it's always nice to see those events, and one of the things Mr. Bruner said was that they weren't happy with the attendance last year, so they sat down as a team and decided, how could we get more parents involved? And they were able to achieve that and able to really have a good evening. So it was great to see and great to see all those parents.
Thank you. My point of pride is for two science teachers, one at Ferndale Middle School, Akila Evans, and a chemistry teacher at Ferndale High School, Tracy Barish, who really instill in the kids a great love for science and everything that's exciting about science, and sort of lifting the veil up on kids. And Sarah came home the other day and says, I love chemistry. Too bad I wish Mr. Tellisford was still here. Yeah, and it wasn't just because she gets to light things on fire either. In a controlled way. But I think it's really important, it's a really important thing to be scientifically literate in today's world, and we have teachers like this that are helping our kids get there, so that's what I'm proud of.
Actually, Mrs. Veris just wrote a recommendation for Giuseppe, who some of you may know I hosted last year from Italy, so she emailed and still serving him after he graduated, so I think that's just great dedication. My shout out goes to all the teachers who were staying after hours for conferences, and I have to really give another shout out to the middle school teachers that run that power hour, because I know that my daughter has really benefited from that, and it's just such dedication, and that in the face of all the other initiatives they have, I just think it's absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to surprise everybody here by giving a shout out to a sports team. I would just like to really give a shout out to our boys soccer team, because in their second overtime, and don't get too impressed with me, I did have to double check the score. It was 1-3 in the second overtime, and that was at the state district, so I was really proud of them.
All right, my quick product would be for the Ferndale Elementary PTA, who is very hard at work getting ready to do the Halloween nights that will take place at Coolidge this Friday from 6:30 to 8:30. There's a volunteer spot online. We still need volunteers for that, and I'm going to issue a challenge to the board that everyone pick up a volunteer shot.
I'm already there.
Kevin's already there. I'm there. I hope to see all of you there. So it's a super fun night, and
Bring your kids?
Yep, you can bring your kids and let them loose while you're volunteering.
So I was going to do that one, but I want to actually do the, I want to thank the whole staff that was incredible in our homecoming. It was one of the most amazing things, and I've been able to go around to the community, knock on doors and talk to people, and the first thing that comes up, do you see that parade? Do you see all those people? We've never seen that before. And so the enthusiasm, the organization, it was all really, really fantastic. And I think it's a way of reinforcing what's on those signs that are all around town that say Eagle Pride. This was a bunch of people showing that in person. So thank you for doing that. Thanks to the whole staff for doing it. It's very much appreciated.
The Kennedy Fall Festival was this past Saturday, and I would like to make sure we recognize that fantastic effort. And I don't know if Board Member Latasha is going to talk about the super cool raffle basket that her kids happened to win.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. It was a
got the
fantastic
Lego
Lego basket over at the Latasha household. So.
Still waiting.
Need some Legos.
Ronan and I are still
We need
waiting
more.
for our
We
invite.
needed more Legos. Ronan is more than welcome to come over. And I do say that I did work the table for several hours, and it raised an incredible amount of money for the school.
Right.
Overall, it was a fantastic event, and so many people showed up.
The whole event was very successful. There was a great haunted hallway, Harry Potter themed haunted hallway this year, and lots of great games, and lots of kids having a lot of fun, and lots of parents having a lot of fun too. So.
Good. Great. I think I know one of the gremlins.
Haunted hallway. I think so.
All right. Well, our next meeting is on Monday, November 17th, 2014, right here at 7 o'clock. It's a regular board meeting. But we will have a special town hall following the next superintendent advisory council meeting on November 12th at Roosevelt. So that is scheduled from 7 to 8, and the board with an invitation to the Strategic Plan Review Committee from last year, and any other members of the public that want to come. We will just do a check-in on strategic plan progress and sound out how people in the community and the review committee feel about that, and if they would like to see any changes. So that's on November 12th at Roosevelt. So with that, unless there's an objection, we are adjourned at 9:02.